Je sais pas pourquoi je pleure. Parfois, on pleure parce qu'on est content.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 2016 Swiss animation film Ma vie de courgette, or My Life as a Zucchini. This is a film by Swiss filmmaker Claude Barras. It's written by Celine Sciamma alongside Barras, Germano Zullo, and Morgan Navarro. It's written by Celine Sciamma. It's the only reason that I really wanted to watch it. I hadn't heard of it otherwise, but it won Best Animated Film and Best Screenplay at the Césars. We're going to watch the French version. I know there's an American version out there. I love Elliot Page, but I am not going to listen to American voice acting. Sorry. Let's just watch the French version. And before we get started, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. Even more so than any other Celine Sciamma film, I know nothing at all about this movie. I listened to an interview where Sciamma talked about how this informed her writing process for Petite Maman, as well as for Portrait of a Lady on Fire, actually, writing two children and kind of writing outside of whatever restrictions she had on herself previous to this. Music by Sophie Hunger. Using stop-motion animation techniques. French are adventurous with their animation styles. Not to say that Americans or Europeans, like English people, don't use stop-motion animation, but there is a specific tradition of French and Swiss animation in the same sense that there's a tradition of American or Japanese animation. Universal sign of a bad parent, drinking while watching soap operas, I guess. Universal sign of a neglected child cleaning up after their parents. At least he's putting the empty cans to good use. And not to say this is like Sciamma's dominant style or whatever, but also we're seeing a kind of desire to tell stories, a narrative without much use of dialogue, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, establishing a kind of emotional life, a lived-in kind of beat or sense of the character that isn't informed by dialogue or exposition.
Ça va faire mal!
Non.
And this is something that people like about Tim Burton movies. Definitely the kind of serio comic mix, the mix of the really heavy and harsh with the kind of light and playful.
Et tu as quel âge, mon grand?
9 ans.
Elle était gentille avec toi, ta maman?
Don't answer. Sciamma wouldn't write an answer there.
Bon. Il est où, ton papa?
Là. Et là, c'est la poule de mon père. Maman, elle disait toujours qu'elle aimait trop les poules.
Écoute, je vais t'emmener dans un endroit avec d'autres enfants comme toi.
Okay,
sans
so
papa
he isn't.
Et sans maman.
Mais j'ai une maman.
His real name is
Elle est
Icarus?
partie, ta maman, Icar.
Mon nom, c'est
Icar.
Courgette.
Yeah. What are your experiences with CPS? Comment down below.
Si on me faisait voler, ton cerf-volant.
That's a nice little cooperative moment between them. Him using to speed up the car so that the kite will be able to fly.
Tu viens, mon grand? Je vous présente Icar. Mais je crois qu'il préfère qu'on l'appelle Courgette.
So his mom died from that fall. Okay. I love seeing the backs of Celine Sciamma characters. It's not really a Celine Sciamma character, but you know what I mean. Interesting kind of shadow work that's being employed due to this being stop motion and using actual urines. You wouldn't kind of expect to see these kind of shadow plays in a digitally animated piece. Kind of the charm and the roughness of doing like stop motion animation. The shadows and the lights are real.
Les enfants, je vous présente votre nouveau camarade, Icar.
Oh, Courgette.
Ah oui, pardon. Votre nouveau camarade, Courgette.
And then pulls the chair away.
Bienvenue en prison, la patate.
The simplicity of child narratives, cause and effect. Do they all have like little indicating like scars or something? The bully had a little thing on his forehead. He's got the band-aid.
Bon, la patate, pourquoi t'es là? Hein? Allez, raconte!
Same reason we're all here.
t'as amené ici?
Parents are dead.
Et le gars, regardez, Alice est en mode vibreur. Toi, tu t'es pas vu avec tes pansements.
Bon, et toi, là, y en a marre avec ta fourchette! De toute façon, je saurais pourquoi t'es là. Je te saurais! Encore un autiste.
He
Distribution de bisous et j'éteins.
does not want to be touched. Oh no, they're using his kite. They stole it out of his. You could actually see the cupboards open.
Hé! Lâche ça!
They've chosen like a
Je vais rentrer chez moi avec ma maman.
they've chosen a purposely like kind of harsh lighting
C'est
scheme for
impossible,
this.
Courgette. Mais tu seras bien ici. Je te le promets.
Et la patate? Courgette! Mes parents, ils se droguaient. Tous les deux. Alors, on m'a amené ici.
They're a bit young, but I hope they get together.
Tu vois, là, Béa, sa mère, elle a été expulsée.
Oh, that sucks.
On l'a renvoyée en Afrique pendant qu'elle était à l'école. Ou alors, elle se met à frotter les toilettes pendant des semaines. Elle est complètement malade. Le père d'Ahmed, lui, il a fait un hold-up. T'imagines un hold-up? Alice, son père, il lui faisait des trucs chelous. Enfin, des trucs dégueux.
Yo, this is rough.
Ben, moi, je
I like
crois
the
que j'ai
designs
tué
on their
ma maman.
eyelids. You
J'ai
can
pas
even
fait
see on
exprès.
Simone the little underlids. Some nice design.
On est tous pareils.
Oh, that's nice. He's drawn pictures of all of
Le
them.
matin, on se
It's
lève.
creative type.
Et puis après, Jujube
Yeah, because you're eating all that
demande à aller à
toothpaste.
l'infirmerie à cause du dentifrice.
Dentifrice. And that's sending me all the way back to middle school. Dentifrice.
Nous, pour l'instant, on fait les hommes de Cro-Magnon.
Simone's
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a, mon
graffiti.
grand? Je fais pas mon travail. Je viens te voir parce que je t'aime bien.
Moi aussi, je t'aime bien.
Oh, oh hey!
Ahmed's got a water trope going, a water
Surtout
motif.
Ahmed, il croit que c'est toi qui as mis son père en prison.
Yeah, ACAB. I don't like how they're similarly designed, but whatever. I like that she's an older girl.
Je m'appelle Camille.
Yeah, see? Another little marking. Alice, Ahmed, Simone, Jujube, Beatrice.
Ça, je connais tout par cœur. Mes parents, ils avaient des films. C'est assez bizarre, comme puis après, la fille, elle remue aussi, puis après, paf, tu vois.
Quoi, paf? Le zizi, il explose. Et puis les filles, ça leur fait quoi?
Et les filles, elles transpirent un max, et puis elles font que dire qu'elles sont d'accord. Genre,
Yes,
ah
yes,
oui,
yes,
oui,
yes.
oui, comme ça.
I'm fascinated by Celine Sciamma's approach to things, like the way she observes and deconstructs what we kind of perceive as like the normalcies of language and interaction, like qualifying a female orgasm as she agrees to everything. That's brilliant.
T'es sûr?
And a repeated motif with Simone of the flashlight, because he's a busybody. He's a busybody. He likes to like observe and pry and investigate. It's very cavernous. I don't know if it'll come through in the video, but it's very, very cavernous kind of audio design. They've intentionally made it like recording the voices and recording the audio to sound like it's in a much larger room than it would be
Parce qu'il
otherwise.
est amoureux d'elle.
It makes the world sound a lot bigger than it would be otherwise.
À ta place. Pour de vrai, là, en fait. Son père, il a tué sa mère. Parce qu'elle aimait un autre type.
See, I like the little, the under,
Il s'est suicidé.
the little,
Et puis, c'est même marqué que Camille, elle a tout vu. Tiens, regarde.
Ça se voit dans ses yeux.
underlids.
Ça se
Are they
voit
made of
qu'elle
like wood? 10 years old, 32 Rue Saison.
Ah. Elle est où, Camille? Camille?
They've chosen a very kind of bright directional lighting scheme to cast for the design for this movie. Very big emphasis on lights and shadows. It's a good way to fill out kind of a spare production design, I guess. If you don't have like enough elements to fill up a frame, you could do it with lights and shadows. Since time immemorial. And a repeated motif of Courgette being kind of object-oriented. He's kind of a hoarder, sentimentalist. He collects like the kite to represent his father and the beer can for his mother.
Elles sont trop belles, tes lunettes.
Et en plus, je me vois dedans. Tu veux les essayer?
Ouais?
Petit voleur. Et ton père?
Il est en prison.
Non seulement t'es un petit voleur, mais en plus t'es un menteur.
Non, c'est pas moi le moteur. Je m'en pas.
I wonder if there's going to be a repeated idea of lying throughout this too, because lying is the first words that are said in this movie. Also a repeated idea that Camille surrounds Ramon's first challenges by lying. Be a weird kind of lesson to teach kids though, value of lies, but it would be in keeping with Celine Sciamma's kind of worldview.
Regardez. Elle est jolie, sa maman. C'est peut-être pas sa maman.
Oh, creepy but sad, but creepy but sad. Never heard that word before. Ice bear. That makes sense. Dann müsste ich nicht mehr sein. Alles war so klar. Ich müsste ein Eisbär sein. It's a sense of community that you don't get on other
Quelque
holidays.
chose pour toi. Alors, je pouvais pas te faire de cadeau. Tiens.
What's it made out of? Oh, beer cans. Yeah, he likes her.
Comment tu sais que c'était il y a 3 mois mon anniversaire?
I looked up your file.
Dans le bureau de Madame Papineau.
Si on m'avait pas amené là, je t'aurais jamais connu.
Salut Raymond. Ici, tout va bien. Tu sais, il y a eu un truc
Okay.
incroyable.
Perhaps a little bit
Si tu poses ta main tout doucement.
obvious storytelling, but telling the story of the kind of progression of the birds, building a home, building a nest to having eggs, and paralleling that with Rosie getting pregnant. Spider-Man!
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's sad. I like that it's couched in comedy, though.
Je comprends pas. Elle refuse absolument de me voir.
I guess it's the aunt isn't that bad, maybe?
Pourquoi tu m'ouvres pas?
And they just have a
Moi,
bad
je sais bien
relationship.
ouvrir les lettres. Passe-la-moi.
Laissez-moi.
Waouh, un MP3. Oh la chance.
Oh, la
Les
chance!
lettres avec.
Oh, that's sad.
Je suis navré. Mais c'est parce qu'elle est traumatisée. Elle veut pas trahir ça.
Yeah, it's, the aunt is good, is trying her best, but she just has too much of an attachment to her mother.
Qu'est-ce qui vous arrive, les
This
gars?
dude's so in love.
Vu la tante de Camille. Ah, je te jure, quand tu regardes de près, ça fait peur. Hein.
Grave. Oh, pauvre Camille. J'aimerais pas habiter chez une femme comme ça. Hein. Heureusement qu'elle y va pas.
We have to kill her aunt so that she can stay here. Is that where this is going?
Tu sais, si j'y retourne, je me tue. Ou alors, je la tue.
I could help you with that.
Je te laisserai pas partir.
It's a nice little setup, though, because by the end, I mean, it might be too cute. We'll see. But at the end, it would be cute if Béatrice was reunited with her mother, but also perhaps in deference or respect to these children's lives, or children like these actual lives, they wouldn't settle for an ending so pat.
Mon sac. Allez, c'est parti. Tu cherches dans ta lettre.
Il a des cheveux. Il a des cheveux doux. Enfin, un petit peu mal au ventre.
Ils sont quelle couleur? C'est quoi ce bronze?
Là-bas, j'allais chez ma tante et elle va me taper dessus.
Bon, d'accord. Je vais quand même prévenir le foyer.
Ça va, Courgette?
That's my old house.
C'est chez moi.
Tu veux aller voir?
Does he look a little bigger now?
C'est quoi ça?
Maybe it's just because they changed the camera angle, but he does look a bit bigger in the space.
C'est là que ma mère, elle me mesurait. Là, c'est quand j'avais redoublé.
He's gonna be taller now.
C'est quand mon père, il est parti. Et là, je me souviens plus.
Eh ben, en tout cas, t'as bien grandi, hein?
Ce qui est sûr, c'est qu'elle avait visiblement pas très envie de passer le week-end avec... Camille doit passer le week-end avec moi. Respecter la volonté de Camille. Mais enfin, les enfants n'ont pas de volonté.
Okay, so she's not a good aunt.
Je vais
Okay.
la chercher.
Pourriez donner ça à Camille, s'il vous plaît?
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc?
Ah, alors c'est son...
Okay, so she's not a good aunt. She is actually a jerk.
C'est toi quand t'étais jeune?
Non, c'est mon fils.
Is he dead?
Oui,
Okay.
mais il vit très loin.
Yeah.
Je le vois plus. Des fois, c'est les enfants qui...
I don't think he chose to do that.
Tu sais, dans le bus, je dormais pas.
Oh, when you kiss me. Oh, I want to look into her eyes, see what's being reflected, see the studio being reflected.
Viens là, ma petite chérie, on rentre à la maison. Te faire kidnapper par un flic, c'est vraiment n'importe quoi. Voilà.
Lâche-moi.
Je vais pas...
A repeated phrase in every single French movie I see.
Je fais une grève de la faim
okay.
pour que Camille revienne.
C'est lui qui va décider si sa tante la garde ou pas.
You could see her turning goth before your eyes.
Chère Camille, on a essayé de faire une grève de la faim, mais ça a pas marché. Et puis, il y a la mère de Béatrice qui est venue.
Oh, really? Maman.
Moi, je veux rester avec vous.
An escape device. The MP3 player. Instructions on how to escape.
Écoute-moi bien.
Bien comme ta mère, toi. Mais ça
Oh
arrange bien les
boy.
affaires, tes bêtises, tu sais. T'as creusé ta propre tombe, ma pauvre fille.
Straight up heel. I do like in these kind of childish narratives, like to have as bad parents or adults as possible to kind of justify a kind of a hyperbolic story of like killing the bad adults, like a Matilda kind of situation. It allows for the very rare circumstances where seemingly like killing or the punishment of the parents is justified.
D'accord. Hola, hola, stop, stop.
Hola, hola.
T'as creusé ta propre tombe, ma pauvre fille.
It was her good luck charm. This is a nice little fun family kind of story, but she should really go back to her mom.
Tu sais, Courgette,
Really?
j'ai parlé au juge parce que j'aimerais bien être votre famille d'accueil.
That is if you want to come with me.
Camille. Hein?
De m'avoir sauvé la vie. Et puis surtout Simon. Merci.
On sera toute la vie
Her
ensemble.
hair, Alice's hair is fully
C'est pas vrai.
uncovered.
On restera pas toute la vie ensemble. Camille et Courgette, ils vont se barrer. Avec le flic en plus.
On va pas partir, Simon.
I'm kind of surprised that Simone has like the greatest problem with people leaving. This is oversimplifying, but his relationship with his parents wasn't predicated on them leaving him, but that they had dependency issues.
J'étais obligée de partir.
Simone's gay.
Tu sais pas comme c'est rare que des gens adoptent des enfants grands comme nous. Ouais, mais non, faut partir pour nous. Un flic et un super-héros qui s'embrassent. C'est un peu chelou, non?
Simon, mets-toi un peu plus à gauche. Voilà.
And they're all separated now.
On bouge plus.
It's a happy ending, but I don't know if it's a happy ending. It's a nice foster home, but those kids are not going to be alright, statistically speaking. Yeah.
Bon allez, casse-toi, super courgette.
The pivotal kind of motion of a Celine Sciamma film is when characters grasp hands.
Ça, c'est le jour où vous êtes devenus mes enfants.
Je sais pas pourquoi je pleure. Parfois, on pleure parce qu'on est content. Un dit Raymond?
Oh, that's the part I'd be fine with watching in English.
Tu disais que le foyer.
I'd like to
c'était
hear
l'endroit pour
Nick
ceux qui n'ont plus
Offerman's
personne
interpretation
pour
of
les
that.
aimer. Je crois que tu t'es trompé parce que nous, on t'a pas oublié.
Oh, that's cute. Gilles Perry is the brother of singer-songwriter Geneviève Perry. His first novel, Papa et Maman et Moi. It was surprisingly more kind of bittersweet than I was expecting it to. I was expecting it to be bittersweet, but it was genuinely perhaps more ambivalent in the end than I expected it to be. I don't think it was quite so cleanly displaying that everybody would be fine and everybody is leading their best life. I think the children do kind of carry on their trauma and their scars regardless, and while the children in the foster care are happy that their friends have been able to move on and they have a kind of solidarity in that, I don't know how optimistic the ending intentionally portrays their situation in the end, or the situation of Camille, who is still grappling with her own kind of sense of loss and acceptance. Very kind of ambivalent storytelling in the end, in a powerful way, in an evocative way. I think I'll say for Sciamma's storytelling, this is a really, really simple movie with almost nothing happening in it, and I think that is something that she has carried with her for Portrait of Lady on Fire and for Petite Maman. I don't want to say that like the storytelling of her other works isn't simplistic. Like, I think Tomboy definitely is, but there are kind of like contrivances that are kind of seeded into her work, especially as where it comes to conflict and escalation. I think there are points where she was approaching storytelling from a conventional kind of hierarchical sense, like a rising narrative thread kind of sense, that was reaching a point in Girlhood. And I don't say this is a bad thing. I think Girlhood's really good, but it might have been reaching a point where she was starting to overwrite her work. And while Girlhood is like a blend of beautiful, amazing characters, like truly winning and beautifully wrought characters interacting with each other, I think there are points where the story is escalating past the point where I'd say Sciamma herself is perhaps comfortable with fully addressing within the scope of the movie, and perhaps points like that too in Tomboy. I don't know. But yeah, I do think if she learned anything from this in terms of what she said about learning to write for children, what I gleaned was a kind of simplicity of storytelling, and also a storytelling not so designed around conflict, not built around characters kind of revealing character or revealing interior psychology through strife and through chaos, but through communication and cooperation. That's definitely something that comes more to the forefront in Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Petite Maman, her saying that she wants to tell a democratic kind of storytelling, a storytelling of cohabitation and cooperation, and yeah, a kind of storytelling that doesn't seek to resolve tension through a crisis, through a peak, but instead through contemplation, through stasis. I really wouldn't be able to explain how Celine Sciamma exactly resolves her narratives, because I don't think she does. But yeah, revealing character through cooperation and through trust. Yeah, this was an interesting movie. I'm like kind of a little bit more hurt by it than I was expecting to be, but that's good. Sometimes you're supposed to be hurt by kids' stories, and it's okay to cry and whatever, whatever, and Inside Out and all that. That was Ma Vie de Courgette. Give it a watch if you haven't before, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. And until next time, keep watching good movies.